We now welcome in the call the head coach of the Drexel Dragons, Bruiser Flint. Good morning, Coach Flint.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
Not too much. A good week for you guys. 2-0 wins at home over VCU, and then a road victory at Towson. Talk about the two victories a little bit.
The games went down to the wire, both games. We made some plays at the end of the games. Both games were highly contested, teams going back and forth. And we were able to make some plays at the end of both games. The Towson game, we made a good defensive play, got a rebound. Against VCU, I thought we made some good plays, didn't turn the ball over, made some foul shots to close them out in that game.
You guys finished 7-2 over your last 9 games. How much momentum do you feel like your team has coming in this weekend?
When you finish that way, you always feel as though you got some momentum, but it's the playoffs, and it's a brand new season, so you got to be ready. We're playing Towson again I think in our 9 games, this is in our 10 games, counting the other 7 and 7-2. This will be our 3rd game against Towson. So it's a team that we've played a lot over the last couple of weeks, and we know we got to be ready. But the playoffs always cleans the slates for everybody. I like to break my seasons down into 3: preseason, conference season, playoff season. So it gives you a clean slate, and you better be ready to go, or you're going to be going home.
Got a question for you in queue from Eric Lynch at the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Go ahead, Eric.
Thanks for your time. Given the depth of the conference this year and just how many good teams there are, where do you feel like your team fits into all that?
Excuse me? I missed that a little bit. What'd you say?
I said, given the depth of the conference this year and just how many good teams there are, where do you feel like your team fits into all that?
I think a conference we're 6 teams with 20 wins. I think that speaks for itself. I just think we're one of the top 6. I think this league was very deep this year. Not only that, even if you go a little further than that, the teams might have had great records, but they're winning records, but they were right there in games, and the games were tight. So I just think, of the top 6 teams, we fit into one of the 6 who won 20 games and who had a pretty good year.
What do you think about the prospect of needing to make a run to, upset George Mason or ODU to become that 3rd team to make the NCAAs?
You got to take it game by game. The toughest thing is nobody's ever won the tournament winning 4 games, but you got to take the first game first, and you got to take it game by game. You can't worry about who you're going to play in the next round. Just get to the next round. Survive and advance. That's what it's all about.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Drew, we talked a little bit last week about Derek Thomas, and he continued to play well. 2 more double-figure games last week, 19 in the Towson game, including a big shot down the stretch. What's been the key to his resurgence offensively for you?
Well, actually, just been taking his time. Sometimes he gets a little bit too fast, but he's been playing the way. Honestly, he's been playing the way he played when we went to Turkey, and he took his time. He took his shots in what we were doing, wasn't trying to force it. But I think he's had a great month and a half. Even when he wasn't scoring, I think he was doing the things that really was helping us win basketball games, and I'm happy for him because I know he wants to score the ball a little bit, and for him to be able to knock down some shots the way he's been able to do, and plus playing pretty good defense and rebounding the ball for us. He's been great, and I'm happy for him because the kid really is one of the hardest workers we've ever had.
You touched on the fact that nobody's won this thing 4 games in 4 days, but with the 6 20-win teams that we've talked about, is this tournament as wide open as it's maybe been?
I think so, and I think if you look at the records, although, Mason has had an unbelievable season, you only lose 2 games in this conference. You're playing pretty good. But I think if you look at just the overall context of the games and how close they were and who played who where and all those things like that, I think you look at it and you say, you know what, anybody has a chance. But like I've always said, in the playoffs, you always think you got a chance because this is sort of like a new season for you. So you can wipe away all the things that you've done and sort of say, okay, let's start anew. This is a new season for us. Let's try to get refocused to try to win each game. Like I said, survive and advance.
What are some of the keys for your team to have success this week? What do you need to do well?
Well, one of the things is, we've never really shot the ball well now, and I've said this year, we shoot in the 40s, that we have a pretty good chance to win just because 40% area. We got a pretty good chance to win because of the way we play defense. I think it's going to be the same way in the playoffs. We have never shot the ball well in the Coliseum. I actually went back and looked at our stats over the 9 years that I played down there, and I don't think we've had one game where we shot over 40%. It might have just been one. We've shot always in the 30s, and after that we shot 50% from the foul line. So when you're in a playoff situation, when you know the game's going to be tight, those types of things kill you. So we got to shoot the ball better. We got to come down, which I think we've done over the last week or so. I think we're coming in playing with a little bit better confidence offensively than we've done in some patches of our season. So we continue to play defense and rebound the way we've done all year, and we can knock down some shots, and we'll see how we can do.
You touched on the fact that you've seen Towson. This will be the third time in 9 games or whatever, and then if you win that game, then you get to see a VCU team you just saw last week. How strange is that? And as a coach, do you change anything much, especially when you've won those games?
You got to go back and watch, watch the team, see what they did a little bit differently. I know Tyler played a little bit more 1-3-1 against us in 2-3 zone than they did in the first game when we played them here. So that could be different. It's funny because the 2 VCU games sort of played out the same way. In both games, the difference was we didn't turn it over in the last part of the game, and we made some foul shots to sort of close them out at home. Down there, we turned the ball over, we missed some foul shots late, and we didn't close them out. I'll go back. We're starting to work on Townsend a little bit now. Just go back and see what might have been happening differently in the different games, and see what also, too, we can do a little bit better, and what we didn't do well in those games.
One more question for you from Paul Woody at the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Coach. That's an interesting stat you had on your shooting in the Coliseum. Can you pinpoint any reason for that? Is it the background? Is it the lighting? Is it just a different type of environment for your players?
I don't know, but we're gonna go practice. We ain't gonna practice in our building. We're gonna go practice in the arena that's very similar to the Coliseum to see if that makes any difference. We're the greatest shooting team in the world anyway. Although I think this team is a lot better offensively than I've had over those years. But we're gonna try something a little different. I got one of the Johnson Bowie, who's one of our ADs here, said to me, "Why don't you go practice somewhere that's very similar to the Coliseum and see how that works?" So we're going to try that and see if that helps us out a little bit down there.
And where will that be?
We're going to Leah Court Center and practice at Temple.
All right, Bruce, thanks as always for your time today and all season long, and look forward to seeing you at the Coliseum later this week.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.